Welcome to Duck Globe Tuning and Finding the Sweet Spot. Grab a cup of coffee and like and subscribe.
And welcome back to Duck Globe Tuning, Finding the Sweet Spot. Today I have the Crinear Meta in the house. Much appreciated to Mark Ryan over at Super Reviews for sending this over to me. This is a very rare beast, and I'm going to explain why. I've given this a meta matrix sort of theme, but there's a few reasons why I chose the red and the blue pill. Red pill is full reality, blue pill is ignorant bliss. And we're going to go over why this is applicable to this IEM. This is what you get in the box, and I did not get the box, but I'm very familiar with the box. The cable that comes with it, I did not get that. The cable here is one that Mark decided to put on. It's a black cable that goes with the meta theme. There's the shells up close. I actually have a video. I'm going to put the video up right now. You can take a tour around the meta. Again, this is not the cable that comes with it, but they are very nice shells. They're metal shells that are beveled on the edge and have a bronze copper finish. And there's Meta on the right one, and there's Crinear on the left one. And they fit incredibly well. These are very well fitting shells. Crin made a very good, let's say comfortable IEM out of this. Let's go back to the slide and actually show you the cable that comes with it is a copper cable that has modular plugs. And these modular plugs are push-pull fit. I'd rather they were knurled because the push-pull sort of makes it kind of long. It comes with a 3.5, it comes with a 4.4, it comes with 6 sets of tips, 3 silicon tips, 3 foams, and it comes with this case. And the case is incredibly familiar because all of the high seniors, and this is the T4, the T2, the Okavango, the Mega 5 EST, they all come with this case. It's like a Pelican case that is watertight. And Crin decided to, and imitation is the highest form of flattery, Crin decided to copy this particular case from High Senior. It works really well. I have several of them. I do not have the case that says Crinear on it, but I do have the cases that are similar to this. Let's look at the IEMs a little bit more up close. Why is it red pill? Why is it blue pill? The red pill is this, the Project Meta is an excellent IEM. I tried it at CanJam. It was real. Crin actually gave it to me to listen to, and then he asked me, what do you think's in it? I gave a guess. I said 1 DD, 2 BAs, and 2 microplanars. And I looked at him and he said, maybe. And to this day, no one has taken one of these apart to figure out exactly what's in it. That's a bit of the blue pill side. Also, you can't get it. That's a bit of a blue pill side. They're sold out. So hopefully he's going to make more. But it was limited to 999 units at $250. So let's dive into what $250 gets you. What I did over the last week, and I travel for a living, so I was sitting on a plane, and anyone who's been following the news in the US, I took off out of Newark Airport. I landed back in Newark Airport, risking my life for this hobby. If you've been following what's happening in Newark Airport in New Jersey, air traffic control is absolutely nuts. The FAA lost contact with several of the planes. That being said, I was delayed about 2.5 hours, and I sat on the plane with my trusty pencil and my eraser, and I worked on Meta for you. Anyone who owns Meta is really going to appreciate this. I wanted you to see the amount of work that goes into each one of these reviews. So the second phase is me listening to 40 different songs and looking at 17 different parameters for each of these songs and A-Bing them. So this is the work that I did. I want to show you that the work actually happens. So there they are, and I have to punch these in manually into Excel to come up with my averages. You'll see that in a little bit, as well as Zen's T Pro that I just did. There's the Meta, and there's the Spa Limited Edition. And this is the 30 song listen that I do to figure out which PEQ I like the best to start my tuning. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Meta tunes different than any other IEM I've ever done. And the reason I say that is usually within my grid, which is bright, neutral, warm. So this is your warmth scale, if you will, and then your base scale. Usually IEMs land somewhere in the middle. Meta was the first one that landed warm 2, base 2 in this corner. And I was a little bit surprised at which PEQ sounded best for Meta. I think Meta started out a little bit warm at warm 1 and just needed a tiny bit more bass and a little bit more warmth to make it absolutely sparkle. And when I say sparkle and I say warm at the same time, they're kind of contradictory, but to really polish it up and make sure that you had full access to all 17 parameters. That's the PEQ that I started from. And to give you an idea of what this means, here's the Kiwi Ears punch. This is the XHBB punch. You can see where it landed, warm 1, bass 4. You can see here on the T Pro, this landed more like warm 1 between bass 4 and bass 5, all the way at the back. So Meta was very different, again, than anything I have tuned in the past. This is the Squig. So if you go to duckfloat.squig.link, you'll find this on the site. If you have Meta, you'll see the Squig up and running. Very well matched all the way out. You can see that this is a W shape. And what we mean by that is it comes down, it tucks really well at about 150, 170, and then it bumps up again and comes down. And this is what creates the W effect. Meta is meant to be the new Meta tuning, which is very W if you look at it on a basic graph. This is the best target that I used from my first 30 songs. And this was the Warm B, or Warm 2, if you will, 1.5 dB lift. And that's this lift just here. And this was a little bit warm because it glides in and starts to tuck a little bit later at about 300 hertz. It also drops off. Meta seems to drop off at the same rate. And what I want to show you next is where the tuning landed. I don't just take that one tuning after 30 songs. I actually modify that after listening to a bunch more songs to figure out exactly what sounds best. And what I wound up doing is giving this a little bit more bass boost, not in the sub bass, but in the mid bass and in the upper bass. And then I brought that down, I glided it in, matched up at about 600 hertz. My Pina gain was a little bit earlier and a little bit more straight than the Meta's stock tuning. I was a little bit lower at 3K. I was a little bit higher at 6K because I was able to match it, actually tune it just until the sibilant started and then back it off a little bit. So I was able to add about 2 dB, 3 dB right here at the 6K mark on a lot of songs. And then I kept the same upper treble region of 10K. I was a little bit under the, let's say, 12K peak, and then I was a little bit over the 17K peak. That was my final tuning for Meta. This is what I came up with in my spider graph. Meta is ultra clean in its sound. It sounds great out of the box. The bass didn't have enough slam or note weight for me. You can see here how it sort of backs off on the slam and note weight, and this is because the sub bass and bass feel are a little bit lacking, I thought. Again, I'm a bass head, but everything else was pretty damn good, including the timbre and the sibilance and the tonality and the texture. Masking was excellent on this set, so I think this set performs really well out of the box. Here is Meta against its peers again, because I've recently done the T Pro and I've recently done the Kiwi Ears XHBB Punch. Where does it land? So before PEQ, the T Pro is a 9.08, and then after EQ, it's a 9.36. It's exactly the same score, and I don't fudge this. You saw the penciled in marks. Where it lands is where it lands. And then the Kiwi Ears Punch, I gave that an 8.86 out of the box, and then that was a 9.26. So very close, a little bit under. You can see I didn't think that the timbre and the tonality and the texture were as good on the Punch as they are on the Crinear Meta, as well as the T Pro, and I think that's where they became a little bit more rounded. But the Punch actually has better bass. It has more slam. So you can see here that that's where it's really focused. The Punch, and hence the name, is that it is a bass head set, and that's why if you really love bass, this is your pony. If you want something that's more rounded, these two are much more suited. So where does it land on the ranking? And this is my ranking after PEQ only. So we're looking at the scores after PEQ. It is just under the Mega 5 EST. It is just, let's say, the same as the Mega T Pro and the same as the EBC 80. What is notable is this is $90 cheaper, but you can't get it. $90 cheaper and you can't get it. It starts out in A tier before PEQ. It ends in A tier after PEQ. It's an excellent set. I highly recommend that you don't get it because you can't get it. And that's the reason for the red pill and the blue pill. Red pill is, this thing is awesome. The blue pill is, keep dreaming because you can't get it right now. And hopefully, there's going to be another run. Please subscribe to the channel. We're growing. If you have the Meta, send me an email. I will send you the PEQ. I'm very good at responding. The only thing I do with the email is send you back the PEQ. I don't do anything else with it. There's nothing sinister about it. With that, genuine duck bloke out.
Thank you for visiting Duck Bloke Tuning and finding the sweet spot. Your comments are very much appreciated. I'll try to respond as quickly as possible. Share the PEQ settings with you if you own these particular IEMs or if you plan on purchasing them to maximize your investment. Again, thank you so much for supporting the project.